Welcome back. Making news this morning. Educators are calling for AI literacy in classrooms following an alarming spike in AI-generated deepfake nudes. The programs are enabling students to face swap and undress their classmates in doctored images.
Let's get today's take on this with Night Honey, Shelley Horton and the Daily Oz founder, Sam Kozlowski in Sydney. Sam, I'm going to go to you first on this. I mean, are schools ready for AI and these apps and all of these really complicated things that it brings?
No, I don't think anyone's really ready for AI and all the complicated things that it brings. I mean, just overnight, NVIDIA, which is one of the leading AI companies in America, became the most valuable company in the world. It overtook Microsoft. And it's kind of the most valuable part of the economy that no one's really talking about. And then to expect schools to know what to do with it. I mean, they're just getting their heads around how to actually go about stopping plagiarism from ChatGPT, let alone people generating nudes. I mean, we saw a terrible incident in Victoria last week. Someone's been charged over the creation of, I think, 45 images of 45 of their classmates. So as a teenager. And I mean, the law and schools need to catch up urgently because for young people, they're going to be born into a world where AI is just part of everyday life.
Well, we can't bury our heads in the sand here. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get more advanced. So what does the government need to do here, do you think, Shelley?
I actually think the biggest thing is education because these kids might think it's a funny prank when in fact it's illegal. We've got kids getting expelled. We've now got the police involved. So they need to know that this isn't just like a fun thing they can do. They actually need to know there are serious repercussions and that they can ruin their life by doing this.
I don't think they understand, like, if you are sending images, digital images of, like, your underage people, even if it's deep fakery, that's child porn.
It's child porn, and the police actually take that very seriously. So I think there has to be that level of education, perhaps from the government and reinforced by the schools. But also, I'm sorry to say it, but these kids need to be made an example of so that that message gets out there very quickly.
Let's get some ads on TikTok paid for by the government and things like that, where it's going to reach them. Also making news this morning, we really wanted to get on this. Forget spending a gap year in Mykonos, everybody. How about 1 year in the military, hey? The ADF, the Australian Defence Force, is recruiting school leavers to join their 12-month program without any work experience. Shell, they're saying, 75 grand a year, which includes, you got your subsidised accommodation, your meals, you're being trained, you got your health care, you make friends, but you don't have to stay on after a year. Is this a win-win?
I kind of love it. I think I would have considered it. Because the thing is, most gap year, you're working in a bar, you're hardly earning any money. You know, this actually is something where you can get some cash behind you, get some skills and not have a commitment of more than a year.
Right.
So you might then decide after that, you know what, I'm going to go back to university or I'm going to start university. Or you might go, I
pay
like
off your HECS.
Yeah, right? So I kind of like this, and I think we need a lot of help with recruitment when it comes to our military service, so I don't mind it.
I don't know. I did the UK thing. I worked in the school. I earned £80 a week. I learned how to drink cheap wine, and I went on a Kentucky tour. And
she turned out fine.
Question mark. Sam, what would you do if you were to advise an 18-year-old these days? Military or Kentucky?
Well, I think as I was sitting in the island of Mykonos watching David get it in a nightclub at age 18 on my gap year, same as you, I'd worked in London and gotten my pie money and then done a really cheap flight to Mykonos and see how it went down. I think that I would have not been the perfect candidate for that. I do like the fact that they're actually incentivizing it and paying for it. I mean, a lot of countries who have conscription don't pay for you to be in the military in your first year. And it's a big topic actually in the UK election that's coming up because Rishi Sunak has proposed a mandatory service and he's saying that young people need to spend more time in the community, whether that's through the military or through community service. So it's not a foreign idea. Would I have done it? I think I like David Guetta too much.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have done it either, but I think as an option, I think it's okay. I don't like the conscription idea that's being started in the UK.
No.
But if you want this, and I think we should tell people, like, you can make 75 grand in a year,
It's a
get
good way
a couple
to
of
get ahead.
skills, and you know what? Then you could either go back to uni, as you say, or go on your gap year.
Yeah.
The parents will love it because the kids aren't calling them.
I don't know what the retention rate is
going,
like.
can you wire me another $5,000?
Exactly.
You can do this and then still go on another gap year. You've got a bit of cash.
I don't know what the
behind
retention
you.
rate's going to be like. Once
But
they pay it.
I went over to London, but I just told them that I'd worked in TV and I'd read the news in Australia and got a job.
Amazing.
So, you know.
And here you are.
And here I am.
You told them you had a pet kangaroo too, didn't you, Shelley?
Correct.
Works
Drop
every
bears.
time. Works every time.
Drop bears.
Okay, Sam and Shelley, stay with us when we come back. It's the news of the day. Justin Timberlake arrested for drink driving. We've seen the mugshot, so is it the beginning of the end for the pop star's career? We weigh in on it all next. Welcome back. Everyone's talking about Justin Timberlake this morning. He was arrested for drink driving in the news story of the day. New York police releasing a mugshot of the singer after he was arrested and charged with driving while intoxicated in the Hamptons.
Yes, Sam and Shelley are still here to discuss this. Shell, Justin told the police he only had one martini, but he did refuse a breath test 3 times. What do you make of that?
I say, ain't no lie, baby, DUI. And then he's going to say to the policeman, when can I drive next? It's going to be May.
Well, he'll lose his licence, they're saying.
And so he should. I mean, come on, he can afford a driver. This is a really
Who
bad
let him
look.
drive in his entourage?
I know, it's actually stupid. Use it as a learning moment. You've got a world tour coming up. I really think this was irresponsible. Own it, and then it'll be okay. But can I just say to everyone else out there, just go online and get into the comment section. Hilarious.
Yeah.
There's Britney revenge
wow,
ideas.
of
There's
course.
all sorts going on.
Well, this is the point, I think, Sam. It feeds into a pretty mid-time for JT, should we say. He's been having a few dramas around the edges. His latest album, I think, peaked at 23 and then dropped like a stone after that. Where do you see this all going for him?
I think he just needs to look in the mirror, really. Thank you. Thank you
That was
for
good. That's a sign. Yeah.
We're still doing
I didn't quite get the same reaction as Shelley did, but maybe
crying
mine
at River,
weren't
Sam.
as...
Right.
yes, exactly. Well, what goes around comes around. So, I think, there we go. I think that, he's going to be okay, if we're honest. Celebrities seem to be going through much worse and still be able to revive their careers. But I agree, it's a terrible look. And he's got a world tour right now, like in a couple of weeks. So he's obviously not going to drive himself to those concerts.
You say he's going to be okay, but, and it's a big but, like, so, he's getting a lot of, like, mid stuff online to him. People didn't love the Britney fallout.
No.
Some are still aching over the Janet Jackson
Of
Super
course.
Bowl thing where he just skated through that and her career was in tatters. He never, like, the way he spoke about Britney when he came back on this tour is like, I'm not going to apologise. He's not painting himself like a good family man like I'm sure he wants to be.
He wants that image, but does he deserve it? So I think this is where we've got another example of a celebrity where people aren't saying no to him. His entourage, he hasn't got good people around
He's a child
saying,
star
hey.
too, He's had this since he was a kid.
Absolutely. And can I say, like, having watched all of the documentaries like Quiet on Set, you don't want anyone to be a child star. Like, it is terrifying.
Yeah.
But it's also not an excuse for bad behaviour now. Like, go get some therapy, sort yourself out, and be a better role model.
Because he's talented. There's no doubt that
For
he's
sure
talented.
he is, yeah. Oh, it's interesting stuff, isn't it? All right, guys, thank you very much for
Thank you
today.
both.
We appreciate it.
Thank
See you
you.
soon. Coming up on Today Extra, baking on a...